Welcome back to 1700. We are with the incredible Maddy Petch to discuss some of her latest exciting music plans and all about exciting details about her upcoming set at the Cherry Jam mini festival that is happening later this month. Welcome to the show, Maddy.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
You released your debut single December recently. Can you tell us what that is all about?
Yeah, so I got to put that one out this year, and it's just sort of about being really swept up whilst you're sort of traveling and like not, but you know, when you sort of go out and do your solo backpacking trip for the first time and you sort of see the world with a different set of eyes, it's kind of about that and just really feeling lost in a moment. And the music is just sort of trying to carry that feeling as well. So yeah.
Amazing. Was there a particular kind of country that you thought, I guess this is where December kind of was a landscape for, or the starting point?
Yeah, totally. So I was living in England in London for a year, and I got to go there through my studies with Collarts, actually, doing like a songwriters program in Germany. And then I just head over to London. I ended up living there for a year, and it's really funny because I actually play piano. And I've always been a pianist, and then I was encouraged to sing by like my VC music teacher, um, and then I picked up a guitar whilst I was overseas because it was the only instrument I sort of had access to at the time, and just started writing the riff for that song and sort of just kept it up my sleeve for a while. And then when I came back after all the times that were had, being 19 and overseas and a little bit chaotic, I put it together with a couple of other friends of mine. Miguel Hutton was one of them, and Dom Brinkley was the other one, and Sarah Nelson as well. We all sort of collaborated.
Amazing. And so, like, I guess what would say kind of new to the Melbourne music scene. I know you've been kind of training for a while, but how's that been that process like of like creating on your own sound and kind of transitioning and trying to find your own unique sound?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I was quite young when I went away and then sort of started doing everything overseas, and then the big bad thing happened, so I had to come back here. So it has been kind of weird, sort of watching everyone that I like went through my teenage years with begin their career here, and then me come back and sort of actually be at the beginning of it. So it's been quite a nice process, in that like it's nice just appreciating the process of something. I think like enjoying, finding your band and like starting those first gigs and like finding a sound that you like on a guitar that you particularly like for a song. So it's been like kind of overwhelming at times, but also like really nice, to just start really cultivating something and creating a real foundation for everything to come.
Amazing. And obviously, you've had some amazing experience, obviously, as an artist, including travel, and also been a recipient of the 2019. Hope I get this, like, I don't want to butcher the translation, but the Poker Debbie Writers Scholarship Program. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so it was pretty wild. My friend Nick Dukeman, or Sky Music, and I both entered a song that we'd written, to Collarts, and wrote like a little written entry, and then we were selected as the two music students to go over and write for Sony. And we were given just like briefs to write for other pop artists in Germany. And the one that we wrote in the end, and like recorded and made like a whole demo of and sent off, ended up getting signed to BB Thomas, which was really cool. It was a really cool experience. It was just sort of 2 weeks of non-stop writing, working with people obviously from Germany, and like just the students over there have also, I think any culture that you immerse in, they're going to have different ways and different ideas of doing things. And it was really cool to see, like, particularly I found that German students had really like extravagant home studios at like a really young age. And it was really cool because I think they actually get, like a fair bit of government funding as a student over there. So they have the means to like create a really good setup and good studios over there. So it definitely like informed my approach to like the possibilities that can be when it comes to like songwriting. There's heaps of different ways to do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite interesting having that experience as a songwriter and immersing yourselves in different cultures and stuff. And I think, do you think that's personally kind of translated into music now, and how it could, and all those elements of you traveling and, that whole intensive program, how do you think that's kind of translated into music now?
It's really interesting. I think because I came from, like, I've always played music, from a young age. When people sort of say, like, oh, I've been singing since I was 3. Like, I guess it's just, I've always sort of done that and always been around it. When I went overseas initially, when I got to England after doing that really intensive program, it's like everything just kind of stopped, because I just was finding my feet in a new place and like trying to get work and, make a new community. So for a long time, everything kind of stopped. And it was almost like, it was just like music was this one thing that I kept coming back to. And like because I had no world around me to kind of compare things to, like I no longer had, my high school mates that we were doing school musicals with, and I no longer had people that I was filling in for their jazz bands with singing. It was like, well, I have nothing to go off of, so I have to just create something completely independently. And I think because of that, it really like heightened my, level of practice on like piano and guitar and songwriting, because it was like I became completely independent. So I totally think, by virtue of that, it's really informed how I write songs now. Like I try to just sort of block out the world around me for a minute and just, do it, and then bring it to like people I know. Because I think it's really easy to like to maybe compare yourself too much to others, and like, am I fitting in this genre, or am I using these like techniques like for that genre correctly. And I think just, yeah, that whole experience of abandoning any kind of sense of what is around music just gave me this like new kind of standalone way of doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And obviously, speaking about your music, you're actually set to release your brand new second single, Rent a Boyfriend, in early 2023, which is very exciting. Can you tell us,
Yeah.
can you just provide us a little insight on what we can expect?
Yeah, so it's probably a little bit less like beachside boppy than December. It's got a little bit more rock and swagger to it, and it's kind of just about getting stuck in like a situationship with someone and just sort of telling a story around that I kind of went through in the past couple of years. And yeah, we are actually playing it for our set next week at Cherry Jam, which will be really exciting. And it's been really nice to sort of put it together with the band and really find a tone that's pretty grungy and rocky. Yeah, so we're sort of going for something a bit gnarlier, a little bit heavier, which is nice.
Yeah, so speaking about Cherry Jam, which you're performing later this November, which is very, very exciting. It's like next week or the week before after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so close.
Very,
Yeah.
very close. Can you tell us what we can expect from your live performance or your live set?
Yeah, so we definitely have a pretty versatile set. We definitely have some more upbeat stuff to kind of get your legs and your hips moving, but then we do have a couple of more like stand there with your arms crossed, kind of have a beer slowly kind of songs, which is nice. So it's a bit of an arc we've got going for that, but it will be like the full band and we'll have sort of a bit of a journey to go through, which will be nice.
Love a journey. Love a little
Love
mini.
a journey.
So yes, obviously I think there's a message that maybe people of our audience don't know about Cherry Jam Mini Festival is it showcases female and gender diverse musicians within the Australian music scene. How important do you think that these events happen in the Australian music scene for an artist like yourself?
It's really interesting. I'm pretty like humbled and a bit gobsmacked that I get to be involved in such a thing, to be completely honest with you. I think it's been, and I think a lot of people, female identifying and gender diverse people can relate to the feeling of sort of feeling a little bit like outspoken or spoken for, or, not the voice in the room that you want to be. And I think just having something that like really addresses how prominent that is but isn't talked about is really like important. And I think it just acknowledges something that systemically we can't change overnight. And to have, I have like a lot of lovely men that I work with, but to have them all behind me for something like this is really like humbling and really good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really important thing, and I'm really stoked to be involved.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And obviously, you're working with you're being a part of some other great musicians, including Blue Nude, Ramona Sky, and Mabel, and so many more. Have you worked with particular artists before, or what are you most excited about when working with them or performing alongside them?
In general, or for Cherry Jam?
For both. Why not both?
um, um, I think I've gotten to work with quite a lot of artists, which has been really nice. I did a fair bit of work with Ainsley Wills back in the day, which was really lovely. And Ramona Sky, I've like loosely kind of tangled with throughout the industry, but it's been sort of nice seeing their names pop up in my emails, and we'll get to meet. And Blue Nude as well, I'm really excited for. But again, it just goes back to that thing of like, I am just sort of budding in this like industry, in this climate, and it's really nice just getting to know the spider web of musicians that is kind of Melbourne, and just sort of start really connecting with people that I admire, really good songwriters.
Yeah, I think it's such a great atmosphere to have where, as a musician, I'm only guessing because I'm not one, but where you have a kind of more of a support network with these types of things, and you learn how. I think you like when you see their performances or their particular styles, you branch off one another and you like learn and gain experience. Is that kind of true?
Yeah, that's so true. I have had the pleasure of like working with, I moved down to Geelong from Melbourne originally, but I moved like down to Torquay actually, and I got to know a lot of the Geelong musicians. I don't know if you're from Victoria,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I
yeah,
love.
cool. Okay, great. And like just, it feels like any city you kind of go to along like at least what I know of the East Coast, it's like there's always a pocket of people there that are fantastic.
Mm.
I now work with Hassel, who is like a Geelong songwriter and has her own project. And I've done some writing with Seb Sabo as well, and like he's an incredible indie pop artist as well, that's actually on tour at the moment. So it is really exciting to just do events like this and meet people wherever you go and just collaborate as someone that is budding and working towards a debut EP.
Yeah, amazing. Now, I don't know if you know, but Cherry Jam or mini festivals, all the proceeds go to Musicians Making a Difference, which is a foundation which is inspire young people to make positive choices in their lives so they can find their place in the world through the means of music, which I think is great. How important do you think music has had a role in your life?
Um, it's interesting. I think, like many people, I think as a muso and as someone that just constantly finds themselves coming back to it, I think it always will. And there was actually a moment overseas where, as I said, I didn't get to like write or play piano for like a long time, and I picked up guitar. But eventually, after like 3 months or so, when I got a piano, I like sat down and played in the little tiny attic room I had in like the north of London, with the window like open, looking over all the other roofs. Oh, I smacked my head so many times on that because the rooms that are like this, like the roof is like this, I just go gush. Anyway,
Yeah.
I remember like sitting down and playing and like feeling really emotional because I was like, oh my God, I like forgot how important this was to me. So I think we definitely underestimate the value that it has within our lives, and like it's very soul fulfilling for anyone that does it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I do a bit of singing here or there, and I just think it's such like a therapeutic means as well. And
Yeah.
I think this is such a great foundation and also a great setup with the Cherry Jam Mini Festival because it really kind of explains and really showcases hand in hand the means of music and the power that music has and how it can change perceptions of people and things like that.
Yeah, it's a really powerful thing. And it just takes, that one song to listen to like shed new light on something in your life or like have a really pivotal moment. It's extremely powerful in its like, way of connecting people and inspiring people. So yeah, and I do think it's really great that it's a not-for-profit event as well. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and now obviously we've talked about the Cherry Jam Music Festival and sort of your new debut hit that's coming next year. Have you got any more exciting music plans for the year ahead?
Yeah, so we'll be shooting a video for that and doing a bit of a campaign for that particular single, and then after that, we're going to be putting together my debut EP, which will be 5 tracks, which is really exciting. We're probably just going to dribble out the singles leading up to, and then have maybe one or two extra on there. And I hope to have that out sort of by the start of 2024. So that's really exciting as well.
And how's been that process of like, obviously, you've done your singles now, but also transitioning into a body of like, I guess what we would say a body of artwork where it's your album.
Yeah.
How's that been like creating that process?
Again, it's like super overwhelming because it's
Yeah.
like the first time you do anything, you're gonna like fall and have little things that you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. But again, it's like finding the beauty in that process and working with really good people that I enjoy, and we have similar visions. And I think the more that I explore doing that, the more that I find myself doing things that I really believe in and really enjoy around the music, which is great.
Amazing.
Yeah.